Most people think men don't feel deeply, because they don't speak often. But what if silence isn't emptiness? What if it's a language no one ever taught you to read? What if the way a man stands, the way he goes quiet, the way he pulls back instead of arguing, isn't emotional absence, but emotional control fighting to survive? How many times has his silence been mistaken for indifference, when it was actually restraint? How many men were never taught how to express emotion, only how to contain it? Tonight, we decode the language men speak without words, the signals hidden in posture, stillness, and withdrawal, and why understanding them could change your relationships and your life forever. Stay with me. Come closer, my friends. Not closer to me, but closer to your own noticing. Words have always been given too much power. Men especially have been judged by what they fail to say, while no one was taught how much they are already speaking without sound. I have watched men sit in silence and be misunderstood for decades. I have watched their stillness mistaken for indifference, their restraint labeled as coldness, their calm read as absence. Yet beneath that quiet surface, entire storms were being held together by discipline, fear, love, and loyalty. A man does not always speak when he feels. Often he contains, and containment is not emptiness. It is structure. A man's emotional world is written not in speeches, but in posture, timing, breath, and distance. If you wish to understand him, if you wish to understand yourself, you must learn to read the language beneath the language. Watch how a man stands when the room grows tense. His shoulders may square, not to dominate, but to stabilize. His jaw may tighten, not in anger, but in restraint. His eyes may turn away, not because he does not care, but because he is choosing not to unleash what he feels before he has made sense of it. Silence, for a man, is often a workshop. When he withdraws, it is not always abandonment. Sometimes it is calculation. Sometimes it is self-protection. Sometimes it is the ancient instinct to solve before speaking, because he was taught, early and repeatedly, that emotions without answers are burdens to others. I remember a young monk who once asked me, "Why do I feel so much, yet say so little?" I told him, "Because you were trained to be useful before you were allowed to be vulnerable." Many men were raised this way, praised for strength, rewarded for control, left alone with confusion. So they learned to communicate sideways. A man may show love not through words, but through consistency. He arrives when he says he will. He fixes what is broken. He notices details he never mentions. He remembers what you forgot you told him. This is not emotional absence. This is emotional translation. Watch how a man handles pressure. Does he become quieter, more focused, more deliberate? That is not withdrawal, it is prioritization. His nervous system is shifting into regulation, not avoidance. Watch how he reacts when he feels unappreciated. He may not complain. Instead, he may reduce effort, pull back energy, offer less of what once came freely. That is his grief speaking. Men often do not announce their hurt. They reallocate themselves. When a man feels safe, you will notice it not in grand declarations, but in subtle loosening. His shoulders drop. His humor returns. His breath deepens. His presence lingers longer than necessary. Safety, for a man, is the freedom to rest without being questioned. And when a man is overwhelmed emotionally, his body will speak before his mouth ever does. He becomes restless. He overworks. He numbs with distraction. He seeks motion because stillness would require feeling. This is why emotional intelligence in men must begin not with talk more, but with listening better to himself. A man who learns to read his own nonverbal language gains immense power. He stops judging himself for not expressing emotions the way others expect. He begins asking different questions. What is my body doing right now? What am I holding back and why? What emotion am I protecting others from? What truth am I afraid will escape if I speak too soon? These questions do not weaken him. They refine him. A regulated man does not explode, but neither does he disappear. True emotional intelligence is not loud vulnerability. It is accurate expression at the right time. I have seen men ruin relationships not because they felt too little, but because no one taught them how to translate feeling into signal. And I have seen men transform their lives simply by realizing that their silence was not broken, it was untrained. You do not need to abandon your nature to grow. You need to understand it. Your stillness can be a strength. Your restraint can be wisdom. Your silence can be presence if you are conscious of it. But when silence becomes avoidance, when restraint becomes suppression, when control becomes numbness, then the body will speak louder. Through tension, through fatigue, through distance. So learn the difference. Ask yourself, gently and without judgment, am I choosing quiet or hiding in it? Am I pausing to reflect or delaying the truth? Am I protecting peace or avoiding discomfort? An emotionally intelligent man does not betray his nature. He masters it. He learns when to speak and when to wait, when to act and when to feel, when silence is medicine and when it is poison. Remember this, my friends. Not all emotions need words, but all emotions need acknowledgement. The man who can read his own silent language becomes steady in chaos, trustworthy in relationships, and powerful without force. And that is the kind of man the world quietly follows, not because he demands attention, but because his presence speaks before he ever does.